The Friday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show starts now. And if you'd like to be a part of it, the AdventNews.com talk and text line is open at 414-799-1130, or you can reach us toll-free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on Twitter X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Streaming live via the Dano Cam on YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. You can also watch the show live on Twitter X or Facebook if you would like. Tomorrow, President Biden marks 3 years in office. But we're not going to look back on his term by looking back 3 years. We're, in fact, going to look back 44 years to one of the most pointed, relevant moments in the history of presidential debates and how you should be analyzing the election of 2024. Before we do that, though, the Cold Hard Cash Contest word this hour is BANK, B-A-N-K, BANK. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword BANK. If your entry is picked at random, you put $1,000 in the bank instantly, courtesy of iHeartMedia. Good luck. The word is BANK. You've got until 55 past this hour. October 29th, 1980, the final presidential debate between incumbent President incumbent President Jimmy Carter and challenger Ronald Reagan. Reagan uncorked this 1-minute-long line that resonated far beyond voters' minds a couple of weeks later in the election of 1980. It has resonated as the singular test of an incumbent president ever since.
Next Tuesday, all of you will go to the polls, will stand there in the polling place and make a decision. I think when you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago? And if you answer all of those questions yes, why then I think your choice is very obvious as to who you'll vote for. If you don't agree, if you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
It's remarkable how prescient those questions were, as relevant in 2024 as they were 44 years earlier when Reagan asked them. This is why this has been the baseline test ever since. Are you or are you not better off than you were 4 years ago? Ladies and gentlemen, as President Biden marks 3 years in office tomorrow, I can say with absolute certainty that no, you are not better off than you were 4 years ago. And because this is the Dan O'Donnell Show, you know I've got the data to prove it. On January 20th, 2020, almost exactly 4 years ago today, the average price of gas was $2.53. Today, it's $3.09. And the media has been celebrating for the better part of a year and a half now how Biden got prices down from their record highs of above $5 a gallon. For the first time in American history, the average price of a gallon of regular unleaded across the country topped $5 under President Biden. He did that by tapping the Strategic Petroleum Reserve right ahead of the midterm elections for no real national emergency other than to save his own political party. We don't have much of a Strategic Petroleum Reserve anymore, and we still don't have gas prices down where they were under President Trump. A 30-year fixed mortgage rate on January 20th, 2020, was 3.7%. Today, it's 7.485%, more than double. The reason for that is rather obvious, because inflation got out of control almost immediately after President Biden took office. And when I say almost immediately, I mean almost immediately. The year-over-year consumer price index started skyrocketing to levels unseen in a decade, then 30 years, then 40 years, almost as soon as President Biden's stimulus package and stimulus checks hit taxpayers' accounts. This disincentivized a return to work after the COVID-19 shutdowns of a year earlier that further exacerbated a massive supply chain problem. Simply put, employers and manufacturers especially couldn't lure people back to work. They were getting paid not to. President Biden also extended enhanced unemployment benefits to further incentivize people not going back to work. They weren't going back to work, but they were still spending money on fewer and fewer goods that were being produced. Naturally, inflation skyrocketed. The only thing the Federal Reserve could do to get interest rates under control, or rather to get inflation rates under control, was to dramatically spike interest rates. And that's what they started to do, hiking rates farther and faster than almost at any point in American history. And inflation still isn't down. Not to the target level that they want it to be anyway. It was at 3.4% year over year in December. That was a surprising tick upwards from 3.1% in November. It was also dramatically higher, even after all of those interest rate hikes, than it was on January 20th, 2020, when year-over-year inflation was 2.5%. Now, the dramatically higher interest rates, combined with nearly 4 years of inflation, have pushed the average home price up to stratospheric levels. The average home price in the United States right now is $403,714. On January 20th, 2020, the average home price was $246,334. If you put 20% down, your mortgage payment, on average, was $896 in 2020. Right now, your average mortgage payment is $1,911. That is real money, as producer Dave points out, a real $1,000 every single month in the average mortgage payment, going up because of the price of a home going up, thanks to inflation, and because of the price of interest rates, which are eating up more and more and more of homeowners' payments. Your average weekly grocery payment on January 20th, 2020, with children in the house, was $160.35. The average weekly grocery payment with children in the house now, weekly, remember, weekly, $270.21. The average price of a new car back on January 20th, 2020, was $38,921. The average price of a new car today, 4 years later, $48,008. Price of used cars, not much better. They were $22,000 on average in 2020. In 2024, $26,533. Total expenditures throughout 2023 for the average American household are 19% higher than they were under President Trump. A good way to look at this is what cost $1 under President Trump, throughout the 4 years of his presidency, now costs $1.19. Average total household spending this year, $72,927. Under Trump, it would have been $61,316. This means, all told, Bidenflation, the average cost of living over the past 4 years, has gone up $11,611. A better way to look at that, because sometimes when you get to bigger numbers, even in the tens of thousands, it's difficult to fully wrap your mind around that. But I want you to think of your average monthly budget. What is it that you are budgeting for? You've got rent, you've got groceries, you've got utilities, you've got insurance, maybe college tuition, maybe you've got private school tuition. You've got average monthly expenses, and you have a pretty good idea what your average monthly income is going to be. Under President Biden, over the past 4 years, you are now paying an extra $967.58 per month. No wonder more and more and more people are delaying retirement, coming out of retirement, or adding on second jobs. Families in which only one spouse worked are now forced to make a very difficult decision. Do both spouses work and incur the cost of daycare if grandma and grandpa aren't available or don't live in the same city to babysit? That's another additional massive expense. The average cost to the American family of Bidenflation is $223.28 per week. Per week. Every week, you are paying an additional $223 in essentially a tax because of the fiscal mismanagement of this presidential administration, because of the destruction of this economy. And then, ironically, the same Biden administration is wondering why people don't feel as though Bidenomics is working for them. The simple answer is, it isn't. If you break that $11,000 down even further, every single day, you are now paying an extra $31.81 just in inflationary costs. Ladies and gentlemen, just to your pocketbook alone, the past 4 years have been devastating. To say nothing about the wars that have broken out in Ukraine and the Middle East. Ironically enough, we were told that former President Trump was going to inflame the Palestinians by moving the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem and declaring Jerusalem to be the capital of Israel. That didn't happen. What did happen was a massive terror attack on October 7th. We were told that Vladimir Putin was going to be emboldened under his good buddy Donald Trump. Remember, because of Russian collusion, Putin installed Trump and he was going to invade his neighbors on Trump's watch. That didn't happen, but it did happen on Joe Biden's watch. By any account, the world is a more dangerous place than it was 4 years ago. And to you personally, it's by far a more expensive place. Are you or are you not better off than you were 4 years ago? The answer is inescapable. You're not.
Hey, Dan here with the NFL playoffs upon us. It's time for a brand new way to play fantasy. It's Pick Six, the brand new app from DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Getting started simple. Major cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app now and get started with code GREATESTPICK. New customers can get up to $50 back in Pick Six credit if your first pick set loses. Only on DraftKings Pick Six with code GREATESTPICK. The crown is yours. One offer per first-time DraftKings product customer. First qualifying pick set winnings less entry fees must generate negative number. Max reward up to $50 equal to amount of negative number. Issued in non-withdrawable Pick Six credits valid for Pick Six use only, expire after 1 year. Restrictions Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus. Valid only where DraftKings Pick 6 operates. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Next time you're due for service, visit richlands.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Hey, to social engineering and leftist corporations, do they make you feel like we're kind of living in the twilight zone? Well, you're not alone. Now, our friends at Pure Talk, my wireless company, they know the silent majority is fed up, and I'm calling on all of those Americans, stand with a company that champions your values. The average family is saving almost $1,000 a year. Dial pound 250, say the keyword save now. Do it now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month from our friends at Pure Talk.
Your pet isn't just a pet, they're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynovite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio. That's dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
Coming up on the Larrabee and LePay podcast, we talk with Greg Papa, the veteran play-by-play voice of the San Francisco 49ers, as the Packers get set to take on the 49ers in the Bay Area on Saturday night in the NFL playoffs. Meanwhile, Matt's got a team in Wisconsin with the Badgers that are scoring 80 points a game at times.
The Larrabee and LePay podcast, available anytime on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Presented by UW Credit Union, here for every you.
For those asking, yes, those statistics are going to be online. In fact, I'm writing this up as a column for thefederalist.com. It's a fantastic conservative national website. If you get a chance, read it every single day. Big fan of, Matt Kittle, our good friend, frequent fill-in host here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, is one of the editors, newly hired editor over at The Federalist. And I am going to be writing up a column called You Are Not Better Off Than You Were 4 years ago, basically breaking down these stats. Admittedly, I don't think I have seen this anywhere else. The best way to break it down to somebody who might not understand how badly inflation and then the subsequent hike in interest rates is hurting them. The average American family is paying an extra $31.81 every single day just because of all of the fiscal mismanagement that we've seen. $223.28 per week that you weren't paying under Trump. My grandfather, and I'm sure everyone has somebody who refers to the lottery as the stupid tax. Right? You play the lottery, and it's a tax on the stupid because you're never going to win. Well, somebody clearly wins, right? It's just your odds are so vanishingly small that I've heard the lottery is a tax on people who can't do math, the people who don't understand odds. I get that. Everybody knows you pay $2 or whatever the cost of a ticket is now. It's still $2, I'm pretty sure. You pay $2, and what you buy is a chance to dream for a couple of hours. Oh, what would I do with $480 million? Or now I don't even buy lottery tickets until the price of the jackpot gets up until about $700. Basically, my rule is when I start hearing about the Powerball jackpot on the news, that's like, okay, I stop for gas and I'll buy a ticket. That's usually my rule. I don't play the lottery. Or sometimes I'll be in the mood. I'll buy a couple scratch-offs. The kids love doing scratch-offs. So I'll buy scratch-offs for the kids. And actually, in one of the Christmas ones, we did win $25. So there, Grandpa, it's not a stupid tax. We spent like $30 and won $25 in prizes. Huh? You see? The math works out. We spent 30, we won 20. Oh, wait. Grandpa was totally right. Do you know what the real stupid tax is? $967.58 per month. Do you know why you're paying the stupid tax? For voting Democrat. And unfortunately, even those who didn't vote Democrat in the last election are paying the tax for your stupidity. $11,611 more per year in cost of living increases in just 4 years. What cost $1 pre-COVID, i.e. pre-Biden, now costs $1.19. Now, for anyone who says, and I would love to have any liberal call up and debate that this was COVID-19 was what caused inflation. It was COVID. It was COVID. It was COVID. First of all, COVID caused nothing. Government shutdowns destroyed this nation's economy. We were coming back with a vengeance. But then something happened. Inflation didn't spike because of COVID-19. Inflation didn't spike until the exact moment that President Biden's stimulus checks went out and people started spending them. This is Milton Friedman's helicopter drop. For those unfamiliar, the economist, the great conservative economist Milton Friedman said, imagine there's a town, and imagine a helicopter drops $1 million in $20 bills from the sky. If the people in the town collect all of that money and start spending it, prices are going to go up. Why? Because the new $0 is now $20 or $40 or whatever it was that people were able to collect from the helicopter drop. This leads to all sorts of other issues. Scarcity. If people are able to buy more goods, well, then all of a sudden those goods become scarcer. And the scarcity principle says that the scarcer something is, the higher in value or higher in price it will go. This is basic economics. Now, at the same time, why Biden's stimulus was so ill-timed was April 2021 was the exact moment where the COVID-19 vaccine was being rolled out on a wide scale. And regardless of what you think about the vaccine, it was allowing people, it was allowing businesses to fully open up because people, for the first time, they felt safe going out in public. Oh my gosh, I'm vaccinated. And remember, you had all sorts of left-wing media types. Rachel Maddow famously, we played the soundbite over and over and over. If you're vaccinated, the disease stops with you. You can't transmit the disease if you have the. Now, of course, we know that that's not true. It never was true. But people felt safe going back to work. Now, at the exact moment where all of their government benefits and the enhanced unemployment benefits that they were getting, the stimulus checks that they were getting throughout COVID-19 were running out, they should have been going back to work. They weren't, but they were still getting helicopter money from the sky that they were spending. They're spending money not on, say, vacations or, trips to the spa because COVID-19 was dictating behavior and saying, okay, people aren't still spending on that in great numbers. They were buying goods. They were buying TVs. They were buying video game systems, which would make sense, right? Because they didn't still want to venture out fully. But what happened is as they're spending more and more money on that, those goods become scarcer. And the big problem is, while those people are spending, they're not going back to work. So the supply chain is still all kinds of messed up. Now, then a couple of months later, when the supply chain was just completely screwed up, where was our transportation secretary? Of course, he disappeared for like 3 months on paternity leave, and nobody even noticed, which goes to show you how effective Pete Buttigieg has been in that role. But this was a major problem, and the economy hasn't recovered since, because the only weapon that the Federal Reserve really has to get rid of inflation, and inflation is easily the most insidious thing that can infect an economy because it impacts literally everybody. Literally everybody has to pay prices, and it impacts the poorer and middle and lower middle classes far more even than the upper classes. Because if you think about it, if you own a whole, let's say you own a bunch of homes, let's say you own a bunch of stocks, everything gets increased. The value of everything gets increased. So if you own a ton of stuff, you are wealthier, your total assets increase. You're also spending a far lower percentage of your income on the same stuff. For example, $10 in what costs $10? All I can think of is that famous line from Arrested Development where the mom, who's the wealthy socialite, says, "It's a banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10? So let's say it's a $10 banana. If Warren Buffett buys a $10 banana, and in Biden's economy, bananas might actually now cost $10. Your average person making $50,000 a year, it's going to cost a far greater percentage of his annual take-home pay than Warren Buffett to buy that same $10 banana. So it's a huge regressive tax. It's something that everybody feels. It's something that impacts everybody, and it impacts far more people in a greater capacity because there are far more people in the lower and middle classes than there are at the Warren Buffett level. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. But when you had all of that, and you had the Fed raising interest rates so dramatically, it priced a whole lot of people out of the home market. Do you realize that we just have a real estate market that is at a complete standstill? Nobody can afford to move. Nobody can afford to get out of a 3.7% 30-year fixed rate mortgage, nor should they. To get into a 7.485% mortgage, it's almost impossible. So the only people that you have who are possibly thinking about buying a home or putting their home on the market are people who don't currently have homes. They're not putting a home on the market. They're going from renting to owning, and they're saying, oh boy, that's a whole lot of money in interest rates, but I guess it's now or never. Those are the only people, and rents have gone through the roof as well. You can't escape the cost of Bidenomics. It's impossible to. All right, we're going to step aside for a break. The Dan O'Donnell Show will be back after this with more conservative thought, not just talk.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show next.
You've worked hard to build your net worth, but what happens when you leave it behind? Get peace of mind by creating your estate plan with Bogar Law Offices. From simple plans to the complex, Bogar Law Offices has multiple options to help you ensure your legacy is protected. From wills to trusts, power of attorney, probate, and trust administration, we will educate you so that you know your options. A proper estate plan is unique to you and your family. Bogar Law Offices, offices in Germantown and Mequon. Call 262-255-4500 or online at bogarlawoffices.com.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get the power of a cut above. Decades of expertise to transform your home from so-so to virtuoso. The power of neighborhood painters. We live where you live and probably like the same pizza place you do. Put the power of pro to work for you today. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Hey, it is Dan O'Donnell for my amazing friends at Built-Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. Built-Right's New Year's sale is extended, so shop where the O'Donnell family shops. Now more than ever, it is the time to support Built-Right, a locally and family-owned business for 4 generations and 96 years strong. Built-Right's 45,000-square-foot showroom has thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. Special and custom orders are faster in 2024. You'll find hard-to-find, affordable, better quality, USA-made, small-scale, Amish-made, and real solid wood furniture, and much much more. Plus, the lowest prices on popular brands like Smith Brothers, Elran, Temple, Decorest, Ultra Comfort, Heirloom, Restonic, and Therapeutic. Free in-store design services, best place to shop, and winner of the Home Furnishings Association Retailer of the Year. Shop Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Our pricing philosophy is real simple.
Ben and Arvid from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
It's the everyday lowest possible price that we can sell it at in order to pay our bills, deliver it into the home, keep our lights on, and be here tomorrow to serve you again. I want to know that tomorrow, if somebody comes into my store, they're not getting a different price than I got today. That isn't fair to the one that bought today. We have our lowest price up front every single day.
PennyMustard.com.
Struggling to get rid of those unwanted pounds? Stress, aging, and so many factors that are near impossible to control lead to diet and exercise resistant fat. Fat that's not your fault, but is for sure a problem. Well, until now. The doctors and experienced staff at a Younger You Medical Spa can help you get rid of stubborn, unwanted fat with Cool Sculpting. They have performed over 5,000 treatments to help clients feel fit and confident. This fat freezing procedure uses cooling to remove fat from areas such as thighs, stomach, love handles, arms, and underneath the chin. Cool Sculpting is a non-surgical way to reduce fat and get the body you've always dreamed of. An FDA-cleared and clinically proven procedure that freezes unwanted fat cells for good with little to no downtime. And treatments are just under an hour. And with their amazing special of 50% off 8+ treatments, it's never been more affordable to transform your body for good. Book your free consultation now. A Younger You Medical Spa in Brookfield and Burlington, or at ayounger.com.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When Freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Deep Cuts. Featuring deep album tracks from iconic artists like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, The Who, The Stones, and more. Try something new for 2024. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Deep Cuts, and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Wisconsin Wisconsin Assembly has passed the Parental Bill of Rights, 6235, sending it on to the state Senate. It would allow parents to control what name and what pronouns their children are called at school. This would seem to be a pretty basic thing, right? I would want to know if one of my children was secretly identifying as a different gender, or as we saw in our Unhinged Liberal of the Day yesterday, identifying as a robot at school. If there is any sort of change to my child's behavior, I have an implicit understanding with my school, with the children's school, that they will tell me. If all of a sudden my daughter is saying she's depressed, that there's been a big change, something is going on at school, and she's not telling me, but she's showing something to the teacher that is disturbing enough to the teacher that she's, you know what, there's something with your daughter, Mr. O'Donnell. We really should talk about this. Here's what's going on at school. This has sort of been, it's always been a basic understanding. It has always been the basic line of communication between the school, the teacher, and the parents. Parents actually have a well-established right, as affirmed multiple times throughout the 20th century by the United States Supreme Court, to have a say in their children's education. Do you know why we have a system of school boards, elected representatives to run school districts in this country? It's because of that right. School board members are the representatives of the parents who direct and control the administration of public school districts. It's a very recent thing that school districts have taken it upon themselves to say that, you know what, well, if there is this one type of behavior that parents might find disturbing, i.e., let's say my daughter is identifying as my son at school, and instead of Grace, she wants to be called Greg. Personally, I'd hope she picked a better name. No offense to everybody named Greg. We love producer Greg of the Jay Weber Show. But I would hope that the teacher would come to me and say, Mr. O'Donnell, we've noticed this big change in your daughter, and we think you should know about it. Is she displaying the same behavior at home? If I said, no, what? This is very troubling to me. Because I retain the right, my daughter does not have rights independent of me, okay? She cannot sign for, I don't know, unless she is legally emancipated, she can't sign a contract because she's 9. And we also established that children don't have the fully developed brain or fully developed psyche to make fully informed decisions on their own. But once again, we've got this one little weird area where that sort of basic societal rule doesn't seem to apply. And that's if the child is identifying as a different gender or saying they're non-binary or wants to use zers pronouns at school. This is still a behavior, whether or not we want to normalize it and say, oh, well, this is just a child expressing his or her gender. That's fine. The parent still has a right to know. Not, however, according to Democrat Assemblywoman Melissa Ratcliffe, who apparently says, all your kid are belong to us.
Bill isn't about protecting anyone's rights. It's about taking them away. AB 510 gives adults the power to determine the names and pronouns used for their child at school. This directly risks undermining the dignity and identity of LGBTQ students who may not be supported or respected for their chosen names and pronouns at school, which may be the only safe space for some children.
In other words, schools should be empowered to keep secrets from their parents. Now, what would you say, outside of the context of a school? I want you to think about your child, or maybe your grandchild, or let's say there's an adult, and they say they're an adult in a position of trust, and they say, okay, little Greg, I want you to keep this secret with me. You and I are going to keep this secret. It's a secret that has to do with your sexuality and who you're attracted to. That would be creepy in the extreme. We don't have adults keeping secrets with kids. Don't tell you. The biggest, and I mean the biggest red flag in an adult-child relationship should be, don't tell your parents about this. If you ever catch wind of your child sharing secrets with some other adult, that should be a big red flag. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting that teachers or Melissa Ratcliffe or anybody else is, some sort of pedophile. But what I am saying is that they have a fiduciary duty to the children and also the parents, whether or not they, in their independent judgment, believe, well, the home might not be a safe environment for the student. Okay, that's when you get social services involved. If you truly believe that, if you truly believe that the child is going to be beaten for expressing their sexuality or expressing the fact that they're transgender, then you do have the ability to contact social services. But I'm willing to wager, and now here's where things get actually scary. When social services starts feeling empowered to take children away from their parents, and while thankfully this hasn't happened, there are scattered cases of this across the country. What's really scary, though, is when social services and the state feel empowered to take away children from their parents because the parents aren't affirming their gender identity. That's where we get into the stuff of dystopian nightmares, where you say, hey, wait a second. Why am I not empowered to seek treatment for my child the way I see fit? If it's not gender-affirming care, maybe, like the American Psychiatric Association up until very recently, I believe that gender dysphoria is evidence of mental illness, that it is, in fact, a mental illness, and that I want to treat the child for potential underlying symptoms that are manifesting as gender dysphoria, that maybe it's a deep depression, it's a deep sense of self-loathing. Oh, I hate myself because I'm a boy. I hate myself because I'm a girl. Well, why don't we explore these underlying feelings of why you hate yourself, period, right? What if I want to choose that treatment option for my child? What if I don't want to immediately send them over to Children's Wisconsin, which apparently is just going to be waiting with a giant scissors and, okay, snip, snap, snip, you're done, feel better. This is the fundamental issue, that when this sort of behavior starts, it starts with, all right, well, I'm going to say I'm I identify as, and I just learned about this thanks to the activist Scarlett Johnson, the great Scarlett Johnson. She did a great job all over social media. Do you know there is something called bear gender? Bear gender, as in bears. So it's when your gender is feeling soft and cuddly, you are bear gender. Now, when I think of bears, I think of like nasty creatures who you can't get within like 30 feet of, or they're going to maul you to death. I don't think soft and cuddly. Dave thinks of a crappy football team. I don't think soft and cuddly. I don't immediately think of teddy bear. But yes, bear gender. If you're feeling soft and cuddly, this is where the idea of gender has just gotten so twisted beyond any imagination. It's like, okay, I'm feeling soft and cuddly, so my gender changes accordingly. No, actually it doesn't. Gender and biological sex are immutable chromosomal characteristics. This is not, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling bear gender too. Okay. It's like, so yeah, like think about it. Think about it like the Taylor Swift song. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. Okay. If I just sort of say, I'm feeling 22, am I 22 or am I still 42? Is there an immutable characteristic of Dan O'Donnell? Dan O'Donnell has lived for 42 years. His age, his biological age is 42. Now, I might feel 22. After being hit with the flu this week, I feel like I'm about 82, but I'm still 42. When a child is first feeling this sense of confusion, they often start to experiment. And the thing about kids is oftentimes it's a phase. I think it was Bill Maher who said very famously, maybe a couple of years ago, he said, when I was a little boy, I thought I was a pirate. Thank God my parents didn't lop off one of my legs and replace one of my hands with a hook. We're talking about kids. For a long time, I think my daughter identified as a mermaid. I sure didn't think about surgically attaching a fishtail to her, because she goes through phases. Kids go through phases, and parents, as parents, have a right to know what phase they're going through. The Parental Bill of Rights bill just makes sense. And opposition to it is opposition to the basic structure and relationship that parents have had with school districts forever.
On the football field, Tim Tebow was a national college champion and NFL quarterback. He was equally well known for being an outspoken, unapologetic champion for Christianity. You're invited to hear Tim Tebow speak about his football and faith journeys and how you can be a champion for Jesus at the March 7th, 2024 Covering the World in Christ celebration in West Bend. You don't want to miss this powerful event. For tickets and more information, visit csuiteforchrist.com.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com. Or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Get big savings at Menards. Start 2024 refreshed by exploring Pittsburgh Paint's color trends of the year in-store or on Menards.com today. Save time on your painting projects with Pittsburgh's Grand Distinction. It's a premium paint and primer in one with high hiding coverage and long-lasting color. Get a gallon starting at $29.87 after $10 mail-in rebate now at Menards. Good through January 21st. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards. Sun, 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 fun, 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 sun, sun, sun.
Boaters, this is your show, the Milwaukee Boat Show at State Fair Park. Over 300 boats, family runabouts, ski and surf boats, luxury pontoons, more Lake Michigan boats than ever. Tierra, Beneteau, Pursuit, Cruisers, Sea Ray, Boston Whaler, and more. We have the boats. See Twiggy the water skiing squirrel the second weekend. Check MilwaukeeBoatShow.com January 19th through 28th. Closed Monday and Tuesday.
Learn the secrets to create your own ultimate backyard
Backyard Retreat with Brett Ochtenhagen of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Tune in every Saturday at 1 p.m. on News Talk 1130 WISN. Learn more at seasonalservices.com.
Skip waiting for a table. Enjoy a homemade fish fry every Friday at Sendix. Enjoy 3 pieces of beer-battered, wild-caught Northern Atlantic cod with your choice of Sendix original potato pancakes or French fries. Your meal comes with all the fixins: fresh rye bread, creamy coleslaw, homemade applesauce, and Sendix tartar sauce. Or choose from fried shrimp, walleye fillets, or baked cod. Every Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at your neighborhood Sendix. Sendix Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Deep Cuts. Featuring deep album tracks from iconic artists like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, The Who, The Stones, and more. Try something new for 2024. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Deep Cuts, and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style, and a little bit of fun thrown in, too. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, and it's time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberals of the day are the liberals at my own alma mater, the University of Wisconsin Law School, which are today making all first-year students go to a reorientation session in which they are being taught things like colorblindness is actually racist, people of color can't be racist, and basically every single thing you do as a white person is racist. What? Yes, this DEI training is apparently going on all day today. It was first reported on by the Wisconsin Institute of Law and Liberty. And we are going to be talking about this in much greater depth coming up after the top of the hour. There is also apparently a very similar training materials being circulated for Milwaukee Public Schools teachers. And we'll get into that as well. Suffice it to say, for now, the University of Wisconsin Law School, your unhinged liberals of the day. Yeah, this is... I'm going to go through some of the things that these UW law students are learning. And one thing about first-year law students, typically speaking, they're terrified. I know I was, because they constantly believe that they're going to fail out. For my entire first semester at UW Law School, I was convinced I was the dumbest person there. Turns out I was not right. I was the second dumbest. No. But that's what law school does. It makes you think that you just don't belong there. So any student going in, any 1L student is going to go in thinking, oh, yes, I have to suck this stuff up like a sponge. This is what I have to learn. We'll get into this in greater depth coming up in about 5 minutes right here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. A Milwaukee police officer has been suspended after his arrest in a child abuse investigation yesterday. The unnamed officer is 30 years old and has 7 years' experience in the department. Investigators say the officer was arrested after police were called to a local hospital Wednesday evening because of a 7-year-old child who had been injured. There are no specifics about what kinds of injuries. The Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office is reviewing the case for charges. The Wisconsin Assembly approved legislation that more clearly defines strip searches in schools. The bill would add to the current law making it illegal to conduct searches that ask students to strip down to their underwear. The move came after 6 high school girls in northeast Wisconsin said their superintendent ordered them to strip to their underwear during a search for vaping products in early 2022. However, prosecutors there determined the searches didn't violate state law, which defines strip searches as when a person's private parts are uncovered and exposed. Yesterday, the Assembly passed the bill, which was already approved in the state Senate. It'll now move to Governor Evers' desk. Officials from the U.S. and Mexico will meet in Washington today to discuss ways to deter illegal migration as pressure increases on the Biden administration to address the issue heading into November's presidential election. The talks are an extension of discussions that began in Mexico late last year when U.S. officials flew to Mexico during historic highs in illegal crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, the Packers are preparing for their divisional round playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara tomorrow night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aww. He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Some light snow already on the ground this morning. Watch for slippery spots. A few more flurries today, high near 18. Northwest wind making it feel colder. Overnight tonight, a few more flurries dropping down to 4, 18 and sunshine for tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. New year, new hiring needs? Indeed's end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Dan O'Donnell here for my amazing friends at Built Right Furniture, where my family has been shopping for years. Built Right's New Year's sale is extended. Save on affordable, better quality furniture and hard-to-find flippable mattresses. Thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. Get the lowest prices on popular brands like Smith Brothers, Elran, Restonic, and more. Voted best place to shop, Built Right always saves you money. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Make the most out of your money with a certificate special from TrueStone Financial. Lock in 5.30% annual percentage yield for the next 13 months with only a $2,500 minimum balance. Certificates allow your money to safely grow for the entire term. And with rates as good as 5.30% APY, you'd better hurry. This is a limited time offer. Visit TrueStone.org or your nearest TrueStone branch to learn how easy it is to grow your money. Open your 5.30% APY certificate today. Tomorrow we'll thank you. Terms apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Tracy, over to you for weather.
The sun must be shining, Dave, because the 7 for 7 sale is back at Meijer. Mix or match hundreds of items like Dannon Greek yogurt, Meijer frozen steamable vegetables, and Kraft macaroni and cheese. Pick any 7 for just $7. There's a strong chance of saving with the same quality Meijer deals in-store or online. Back to you, Dave.
Sounds great, Tracy.
Deals so good, you've just got to talk about them.
Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Hi, I'm Nick from Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer, and we'll buy your home as is in cash in as little as 1 week. You heard that right, as is in 1 week. We're a local family business that pays cash for properties as is. Just visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com to learn more.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join Joe Brown for the Safe Money and Income Radio Show on Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Choose from countless luxury flooring options at Flawless Flooring's New Berlin or Delafield Idea Gallery. Flawless Flooring's employee-only installers beautify your everyday going forward right after eliminating carpet stains and stink. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Paid actor portrayal.
Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. In 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected.
Ethos fast and easy online term life insurance up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
2 years ago, the 49ers knocked the Packers out of the playoffs. Saturday night in San Francisco, will the Packers get their revenge? It's a classic playoff matchup. Listen to Packers, Niners, 3 p.m. pregame, 7:15 kickoff on the radio home of the Green Bay Packers, 97.3 The Game.
Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, how bizarre, our weekly look back at the strangest stories of the past 7 days. A baby was born in the McDonald's that I go to every so often. You saw that story? That was your first McDonald's as a kid? Say that again? Producer Dave says his first words as a baby, he says, hand to God, was Don's. Because of that specific McDonald's. That's where you grew up. Yeah, Franklin, Hales Corners, right. Yeah, sure. Forest Home, Highway 100. Weirdly enough, that's the McDonald's that I went to as a kid. Yes, dead serious. Well, I grew up right down Forest Home. Remember, I grew up in the shadow of St. Mary's Hales Corners. Producer Dave and I are leading oddly parallel lives. Right, we have the same car, which I have since passed on to my son. Yours is way newer than mine was. The Toyota Highlander. Yeah, Dave now lives in the same neighborhood that my family moved out of when we moved out. Yeah, when we say neighborhood, I mean 5 houses away. You're something like 5 houses away from my old house. He sends his kids to St. Mary's. St. Mary's is where I went when I was a kid. And we apparently went to the exact same McDonald's growing up. What do you think the odds are that our parents brought us to the same McDonald's at the same time? Of course I remember that play place in front. Do you know how well I remember that play place in front? When I was like 4 years old, I got my head stuck in the Mayor McCheese climb-up thing. So there was a playground outside of that McDonald's in Hales Corners. And I remember this vividly. I was 4 years old, and I was playing around with my brother and a neighborhood friend. And I climbed up in the Mayor McCheese. And it was this little climbing thing. You know, Mayor McCheese is head is a Big Mac. So the toy or the climbing equipment was you could climb in through this tunnel, through this tube, and then Mayor McCheese's teeth were steel bars. Well, being 4 years old and not the brightest kid in the world, I stuck my head through the bars to yeah, Mike, you can't catch me or something like that. And then I'm like, uh-oh, my head's stuck. So for what felt to 4-year-old me like 20 minutes, which was probably 30 seconds maybe, I had to jimmy my head out of those bars. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm trapped. Mayor McCheese is going to eat me. So yes, we have a whole lot in common with that. A lot of great memories of that McDonald's. This story I remembered, a Muskego couple was trapped in the snowstorm last week, and they gave birth. We'll have that story in greater depth in How Bizarre, Strangest Stories of the Week, coming up very soon. Cold Hard Cash Contest word this hour is indeed cash. C-A-S-H, cash. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword cash. To enter the contest for this hour, if your entry is picked at random, you win $1,000 in cash. Cold Hard Cash Contest goes for pretty much another month, right up until Friday, February 16th. So plenty of chances to play. We play 9 through 5 every single weekday. 414-799-1130. That is our adventknows.com talk and text line. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Follow me, Twitter X, or if you will, X Twitter. Get it? X Twitter. At Dan O'Donnell Show there, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, and YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. I think people know my story, right? After getting my head stuck in the Mayor McCheese, I grew up, went to Marquette for undergrad. I criticize Marquette University, but it always comes from a place of love. I think I have been very, very clear. I love Marquette University. I think it's a great school still. I've had my issues with the president, Jim Lovell, but I wouldn't trade my time at Marquette for anything. Marquette's the reason I got into broadcasting. I'm sure they're very proud of that. Marquette is what allowed me to fall in love with my now wife, who was going to UWM at the time. Marquette is where I found lifelong friends, some of the best friends I've ever had. It made me discover my passion for broadcasting through Marquette Television and Marquette Radio. I mean, a whole lot of who I am, I owe to Marquette University and my time there. It literally made me into the man I am. After that, I went to UW-Madison Law School. I thought, okay, you know what? I've been in Milwaukee my entire life. I want to go out. Madison, sorry, Marquette, in the national rankings was, higher ranked school. So I said, okay, I'm going to move to Madison and go to law school. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. I ended up going back to Milwaukee every single weekend because I got hired to do a sports talk radio show. So didn't end up going too far. See, the pull of broadcasting and everything I was doing at Marquette, it was just too strong, and here I am today. But I loved UW-Madison Law School as well. I took as many constitutional law courses as I could possibly take, and what law school does is it teaches you how to think. It teaches you how to think analytically, to think critically, to be able to make an argument concisely, coherently, and quickly, to be able to deconstruct an opposing argument into its composite parts and pick apart those parts to attack the argument as a whole. It's just an incredible, valuable skill. It's logic. It is philosophy. It is the best possible education all rolled into one. And I thought UW Law School was a great place for me. Now, I haven't been on campus there in 18 years. I graduated in 2006. There was a boomer last night, Dave. This is why I love coming back. I love hosting the Belling Show. God bless you all who listen in the afternoon. But man, I love to be home because here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, a guy was very, very upset that I was complaining that I graduated from law school in 2006. Because he's 60 years old and it sounded like a lot of millennial whining, you see. Obviously, real valid critique. He basically he goes into my Facebook messages and goes, essentially his message was, why do you suck so bad? And then I said, what the hell is this? Like, shut up. Oh, typical insolent millennial. You can't take criticism. I'm like, your criticism is you're terrible. What do you want me to say to that? So I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody by talking about my life. Yes, I went to law school. Yes, I am younger than most of you. I apologize for both. If it makes you feel better, I have felt like I was going to die for the past week. Okay, you guys have that. You have that on me. But in 2006, from 2003 to 2006, you could tell UW Law School is a very liberal place. It's Madison, for goodness sakes, and it's the University of Wisconsin-Madison. But I still felt as though I was getting a legal education, sure, from left-wing professors, but there really wasn't a whole lot of politicking, even in constitutional law classes, which necessarily have to do with politics and history and all of that stuff, which is why it was somewhat shocking for me as an alum to get this worksheet from the Wisconsin Institute in Law and Liberty. Today, all first-year law students are being required to take a re-education. Oh, excuse me, you're not allowed to call it a re-education. They're not going to a re-education camp. They are going to a symposium on diversity, equity, and inclusion, in which they're being told that common racist attitudes and behaviors include saying such things as, I am colorblind. Reverse racism exists. It is possible to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and overcome. Even if you are the, quote, white knight or an ally, you're still racist. You can't say we have overcome, i.e., hey, racism was a heck of a lot worse, when Democrats owned slaves than it is today. You can't say, well, racism doesn't exist here. This is my favorite. And I quote, I was an Indian in a former life. After that sweat lodge, I really know what it feels like to be an Indian. I have found my true spiritual path. This spiritual or cultural appropriation poses a serious threat to the integrity and survival of native cultures. That's right. People outside of a, say, native culture, adopting it or appreciating it or keeping it alive actually paradoxically helps kill it. This sort of thing being presented to first-year students and being drilled into their heads. And folks, I can tell you from experience, there is nobody more susceptible to this is what we say, this is the truth, than a first-year law student. The whole thing about law school, I'm sure a number of you watched the classic film, The Paper Chase. It was also a TV show, I think, for a brief amount of time, but very, very, very famous movie, the most famous movie about going to law school. And it's about this first-year student and this overbearing professor who I think might have been nominated or even won an Academy Award for his performance. And he starts dating the professor's daughter, and it's all about how he attempts to get through the first year of law school. This was the famous look to your left, look to your right. one of these people will not be here next semester. They tried to terrify you back in the day. Both my parents were lawyers, are lawyers, I guess. I've got a ton of lawyers in my family, and they said it was really like that. It was that cutthroat. Well, I actually remember, to UW-Madison's immense credit, on one of the very first orientation days, they actually sit all the first years down, and they go, look to your left, look to your right. One of these people is going to be a lifelong friend. We don't do the cutthroat nonsense here. You're all here because we believe you are going to be great lawyers, and we are going to mold you into great lawyers. And that did absolutely nothing to assuage my nerves. I was still convinced I'm failing out at the end of the first semester. But first-year law students are just necessarily, they'll suck everything up like a sponge. They'll say, oh my gosh, I have to learn. Is this going to be on the test? I need to learn this. I need to learn this. So you put this in front of first-year law students, and the overwhelming majority of them, first of all, most of the people who go to law school in Madison are likely to be liberal already. So, of course, they're going to soak this stuff up. But they're much more likely to be indoctrinated into this and have it shape the rest of their law school journey and their careers as lawyers than someone who isn't under that undue amount of stress. The thing that really gets me here, though, is that as part of this symposium, every single student has to put their name down. And there's only, I don't remember how many students I graduated with. It couldn't have been that many. It was 100-something. So everybody. Everybody has to put their name down. And then in the race timeline worksheet, use the space on the front and back of this sheet to create a timeline of significant life events around race. Things that happened to you, experiences you had, decisions made, realizations you came to, news events, etc. Then add in moments about your social identities that shaped you, recognizing difference, facing discrimination, consuming media, etc. Your completed timeline will be used both for our second workshop. A completed timeline should include at least 7 significant moments, but more are encouraged. Okay, sorry, I had a note coming in. Please bring this document to your timeline on a plain sheet of paper to our second orientation anti-racism workshop, Friday, 1/20. That actually is the wrong date. It's Friday, 1/19. So you're going to have to write down all of the incidents in which race affected you. Well, white students, what's going to happen? They're going to have to write down all of the incidents in which they were engaged in racist behavior and they didn't know it. I mean, that's sort of the point here. We're trying to identify oppressors versus the oppressed. And of course, in this DEI mindset, the only people who can be oppressors are white. The only people who are oppressed are people of color. And this is a very dangerous level of thinking, especially for people who are going into a profession, the law, that has an immense amount of power for setting social policy. We'll have more on this coming up next. We're going to push back How Bizarre, one segment. We're going to have more on this, plus a similar thing going on at MPS. Stay tuned.
Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and get started with code GREATESTPICK. New customers can get up to $50 back in Pick 6 credit if your first pick set loses. Only on DraftKings Pick 6 with code GREATESTPICK. The crown is yours. One offer per first-time DraftKings product customer. First qualifying pick set winnings less entry fees must generate negative number. Max reward up to $50 equal to amount of negative number. Issued in non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits valid for Pick 6 use only, expire after 1 year. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus. Valid only where DraftKings Pick 6 operates. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
Yeah, I hear you got low prices on mattresses.
Our 43 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393.
But you can go lower, capiche?
Tell you what, through Monday, trade in your old mattress for a new Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, or Serta Perfect Sleeper at any employee-free Hassler showroom, and we'll knock an extra $200 off. Plus, free next-day delivery.
You've made me an offer I can't refuse.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassler.com.
For your new roof, we'll give you the hands-down best lifetime workmanship warranty in the industry. You can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi!
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
Your pet isn't just a pet, they're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynovite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at DINOVITE.com/radio. That's Dynovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. Committed to covering the important stories and issues that the rest of the media won't touch. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
UW Law School is currently hosting an anti-racism DEI symposium for all first-year law students, in which they are essentially re-educating them. The idea, and this is the one that really stuck out to me, and a lot of people have picked up on this story as well, that racist attitudes and behaviors, some common racist attitudes and behaviors include the idea that reverse racism exists. Now, I happen to think that reverse racism isn't actually a thing, okay? You know why? Because racism is racism is racism. That's not what this teaches. Saying things like, people of color are just as racist as white people, or affirmative action had a role years ago, but today it's just reverse racism. Now it's discriminating against white men. Or black pride, black power is dangerous. They just want power over white people. Or the civil rights movement, when it began, was appropriate, valuable, and needed, but it's gone to the extreme. The playing field is now level. Now the civil rights movement is no longer working for equality, but for revenge. Those are actually racist attitudes. Why? Why can people of color not be racist? Now, here's the question that you have to ask any DEI proponent. Does this include Asians? Because Asians, they're sort of the forgotten stepchildren of the DEI oppressed minority rainbow. There's something of an Asian paradox. If America is really so racist and awful to the point where non-white people can't get ahead, then why is it Asian Americans on average have higher grade point averages, are accepted to elite colleges at higher levels than white people, have higher average incomes than white people, and on pretty much every socioeconomic metric are doing better than white people? They can't answer this, so of course they just sort of wave it away. And in fact, a group of Asian American students were the ones who actually sued Harvard University, leading to the landmark Supreme Court ruling on using race in college admissions. This is what UW Law School is teaching its students today. Let's first define racism with this formula. Racism equals racial prejudice plus systemic institutional power. To say people of color can be racist denies the power imbalance inherent in racism. Certainly, people of color can be and are prejudiced against white people. That was a part of their societal conditioning. A person of color can act on prejudices to insult or hurt a white person, but there is a difference between being hurt and being oppressed. People of color as a social group do not have the societal institutional power to oppress white people as a group. An individual person of color abusing a white person, while clearly wrong, no person should be insulted, hurt, etc., is acting out a personal racial prejudice, not racism. This form of denial is based on the false notion that the playing field is now level. When the people with privilege, historical access, and advantage are expected to suddenly, in societal evolution time, share some of that power, it is often perceived as discrimination. C and D. C is a statement by Rush Limbaugh, though clearly he is no anti-racist. Both C and D follow closely on the heels of reverse racism and are loaded with white people's fear of people of color and what would happen if they gained control. I'm sorry, was this written before 2008? What? The fear of white people if they gained control. This is absolutely asinine. Embedded here is also the assumption that to be pro-black or any other color is to be anti-white. A similar illogical accusation is directed at women who work for an end to violence against women and girls. Women who work to better the lives of women are regularly accused of being anti-male. All right, well, what about this? This is, black power is, in fact, a good thing. If I were to say on this radio show that I support white power, okay, there's a bit of a connotation to that. Would you not agree? Why is there not that exact same connotation with black? Well, black power simply refers to being proud to be black, empowering black people. Well, white power isn't that it's empowering white people. No, that's racist. You see, you can't get around the basic illogical fallacy in all of this. It's that the presupposition that racism can't exist when it's done by the, by definition, preferred class of people, i.e. people of color. You are giving a preferred status by claiming that they can't be racist. You're saying racism is a natural human condition, but these people, by virtue of their skin color, cannot possibly be racist. That's ridiculous on its face. And here's a way to prove this. South Africa. South Africa was under apartheid rule for a long, long time. Everybody knows this, right? Following the fall of apartheid, Nelson Mandela became president, and South Africa has been ever since, because there are so many more black South Africans than white South Africans in South Africa. It's been controlled by a steady stream of black South African presidents. Now the guy who is about to become president is horribly, horribly racist. In South Africa right now, black Africans have all of the power. They have all of the voting power. They have all of the access to the levers of power, so much so that white farmers are even being forced off of their lands because they're being redistributed to black farmers. Do white South Africans who now hold no power, are they the victims of racism? They have no voting power because they're outnumbered by a significant margin. According to this, no, because of the historical trend of apartheid, they don't. Well, now what's going on is essentially a new form of apartheid with black South Africans in the preferable position. In fact, this, is it Kalumba? I forget his name. He's got a very popular, he's singing Kill the Boer. Kill the boar being the white person. Oh, and it's just, it's a fun little song. It's sort of like Death to America. Remember in the age of terrorism when we were told, when the Iranians say death to America, it's just a chant. It's just a thing they say. They don't actually want to kill us all. Well, yeah, it turns out they actually do want to kill us all. Racism is racism, with or without institutional power. Because I can tell you right now, in the hierarchy of a law school, nobody has less institutional power than a first-year student. So you're telling me that a white first-year student has institutional power over the professor who has total dominion over the class and total power to fail that student? If there is, say, a black professor and a white student, the person with power in that relationship is a white student? Of course not. It makes no sense. Just like nothing about DEI makes any sense. We do have to get to how bizarre, strangest stories of the past 7 days. Coming up next, right here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Mander Collision and Glass. And you hear me talking all the time about how Mander is your best decision after a collision. But here's their customer, Kathleen, who writes, I took my car to Mander to get fixed after hitting a deer. Clayton was very prompt and professional and was just so on top of everything. He made me feel at ease and everything went smoothly. It looked beautiful when completed. I never expected it, but the interior was cleaned and the exterior was washed after I got the car back. Wow, am I impressed with the good work. Well done. That's just one of dozens and dozens of reviews that I hear about the incredible work that my friends at Mander Collision and Glass do. They really are your best decision after a collision. And with 5 locations to choose from, there's an option for you. Get your repair started at mandercollision.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
I'm Dan Small. Join me for Outdoors Radio, 6 a.m. Saturday on News Talk 1130 WISN. Brought to you by the Milwaukee Boat Show, January 19 through 21 and 24 through 28 at State Fair Park. MilwaukeeBoatShow.com.
If you have $750,000 or more in retirement assets, you may be close to retiring well. Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group, the retirement specialist. We are just as serious about your retirement as you are. Your goals are our goals, and you always come first. That's the Kowal way. With retirement in sight, every move matters. Now is the time to meet with our team of fiduciary advisors. Give our office a call at 262-522-4040 or visit thekowalway.com to schedule your complimentary review.
Kowal Investment Group is a registered investment advisor.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Market volatility, global issues, inflation, still. More than a few headwinds this year. That's probably why Americans feel uncertain about their financial futures. Boomers, not much room for error. Gen X might need more than a 401k. And for millennials, it's time to get real about saving and investing. Talk to Annex Wealth Management. Build security with a partner on your side for unbiased advice. You may need more than investments. That's why Annex delivers tax and estate planning. There's an Annex plan personalized for you. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
Kessler's gives you diamond choices that no one else can give you.
We have all the colors and clarities and carat weights of diamonds that come from diamond mines.
And we also have diamonds that come from plasma chambers, newborn created diamonds.
Is it time to buy an engagement ring?
Or a big anniversary diamond?
Tell them what an anniversary diamond is, Monica.
An anniversary diamond can be twice as big as the one in her engagement ring.
Why twice as big?
Every diamond makes a statement.
Okay.
The anniversary diamond says, I love you twice as much today as the day I married you.
Now tell them about our miraculous no small print warranty.
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed.
It's just that simple.
And all maintenance is free forever.
No charge.
Yes, it really is that miraculous.
You found a partner you want to share your life with.
When you're ready to celebrate.
We've got a diamond for that.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who is experiencing shoulder, hip, or knee pain and a total joint replacement may be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Statewide.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time now to cast aside the cares and worries of a workaday world and focus on the silly, the strange, the stories that make us scratch our heads and say to ourselves, how bizarre! Two Madonna fans in New York City are suing the pop star for starting her concert late, claiming they had to get up early to go to work the next morning. In a lawsuit filed in Brooklyn federal court on Wednesday, Michael Fellows and Jonathan Haddon say they bought tickets to a December 13th show at the Barclays Center as part of Madonna's Celebration Tour. The show was advertised to start at 8:30 p.m., but the 65-year-old musician, Madonna is 65. That still boggles my mind. Wow. She did not take the stage until after 10:30 p.m., according to the lawsuit. By the time the two concert goers left after 1 a.m., they were left stranded in the middle of the night and confronted with limited public transportation, limited ride sharing, and or increased public and private transportation costs. The late finish on the weeknight show also affected their ability to take care of their family responsibilities the next day. In other words, they were hungover, most likely. Fellows and Haddon are accusing Madonna, the Barclays Center, and tour promoter Live Nation of unconscionable, unfair, and or deceptive trade practices for the delayed start time, which the pair argues constitutes a breach of contract and a wanton exercise in false advertising. The suit is seeking class action status for attenders of other Celebration shows which started late, including Madonna's next two concerts in New York on the 14th and 16th of December. delays are not uncommon in the live music world. Madonna herself has faced similar lawsuits. In 2019, a fan in Florida argued her lateness on her Madam X tour was a breach of contract. And again in 2020, in a lawsuit filed by 2 New York concertgoers, both lawsuits were later voluntarily dismissed. You might remember Madonna's current tour was rescheduled from last July after she was hospitalized with a bacterial infection. The tour continues until its last stop in Mexico in April. Look, if you're out late watching a Madonna show in 2024, that's on you, because neither you nor Madonna can party like you could in 1987.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
A 25-year-old man from Brampton. This story is from the Brampton Guardian. I don't even know where Brampton is. A 25-year-old from Brampton it's in Canada. Okay. It's Ontario, Canada. Thank you very much. He only had his driver's license for about 20 minutes before it was suspended by police. According to officers, the man had just taken and passed his license at the Orangeville Testing Center in the morning in late December. According to a police spokesperson, in celebration, the driver cracked a beer and decided to drive back to Brampton on Highway 10. As the driver headed south, he flew past an unmarked police vehicle with an alleged registered speed of about 50 kilometers per hour above the speed limit. Police also alleged the driver was weaving in and around other vehicles in a careless manner. I can't even begin to understand why someone would think that drinking a beer in their vehicle while driving is a smart idea, let alone a novice driver who should be well versed on the rules of the road, the spokesman said. Police are claiming to have found open alcohol in the vehicle and said the driver registered a blood alcohol level well above 0. Novice drivers in Canada must have no alcohol in their system. His driver's license suspended for 30 days. He was charged with stunt driving, which is apparently a thing in Canada, careless driving, novice driver with BAC above 0, driving with open liquor, and several other document-related offenses. Congratulations, I guess, on getting your driver's license.
How bizarre! How bizarre!
And finally this week, a couple from Muskego had a surprise delivery at a McDonald's parking lot in Hales Corners. A newborn baby. The story from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Annalisia Beck says it was a huge surprise, probably the scariest and hardest thing I've ever done. But it was worth every second. My husband was terrified, but handled it very well and stayed as calm as he could. Annalisia and her husband, Daniel Beck, were on their way to the hospital during the beginning of a heavy snowstorm shortly before 4 a.m. January 12th when Annalisia's water broke. Annalisia felt there was a good chance they weren't going to make it to the hospital on time, so they pulled into the McDonald's parking lot on South 108th Street. Annalisia said, I knew almost as soon as we left our house we weren't going to make it to the hospital, but I never imagined we would be having the baby at McDonald's. After pulling into the parking lot, the little bundle of joy immediately started to make his grand entrance. The couple then called for assistance as the baby fell into his father's arms. Shortly after, the couple said police showed up, followed by paramedics who put the newborn on oxygen. A healthy baby boy was delivered at 4:12 a.m. The couple named the baby Micah Daniel, whom they have affectionately nicknamed McFlurry. Baby McFlurry weighed 8.6 pounds and was 20.5 inches long. Congratulations to the happy couple and their new little McNugget. This has been the weekly look back at the strangest stories of the past 7 days here on the Dan O'Donnell Show in a segment we call
How Bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
The
Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest is a podcast. Hosted every Thursday after 7:30 p.m., we will preview the big football games of the weekend and get point spread picks from me, Mike Burlett, Paul, and an audience contestant on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcast. The Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest podcast, the podcast for your football weekend.
Football information that's both engaging and useful. The Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest podcast from News Talk 1130 WISN.
Skip waiting for a table. Enjoy a homemade fish fry every Friday at Sendik's. Enjoy 3 pieces of beer-battered, wild-caught, Northern Atlantic cod with your choice of Sendik's original potato pancakes or French fries. Your meal comes with all the fixins: fresh rye bread, creamy coleslaw, homemade applesauce, and Sendik's tartar sauce. Or choose from fried shrimp, walleye fillets, or baked cod. Every Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at your neighborhood Sendik's. Sendik's Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Built-Right Furniture, and Built-Right's New Year's mattress sale is extended. Shop the most unique selection of mattresses with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best brands made in the USA, including Heirloom, Restonic, Therapeutic, Schiffman, Comfort Sleep, and many more. Built-Right always saves you money. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free store. Built-Right makes it easy, and with their legitimate sale prices, you'll get an exceptional value and a great night's sleep, as I do on my Built-Right Heirloom mattress. Built-Right does the research for you. Their team will take the time to help properly fit you, and they'll remove your old mattress too. Plus, free delivery on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Shop Built-Right Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday. As always, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan O'Donnell sent you to Built-Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Being present and in the moment for family activities was impossible because Will Burt was so focused on the constant pain in his leg.
My wife likes to take walks. I always kind of dreaded going on walks because they hurt. The boys both play baseball. I coach their teams. I was going to do them and be in pain and be uncomfortable and kind of sacrifice my own health.
An old Achilles injury left Will coping with agonizing pain until he discovered the natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No surgery or steroids. The procedure took place in the office, and Will walked right out.
I feel great. There's no pain. There's no tenderness.
Patients like Will are feeling amazing and living their best lives.
Ironically, just got off the golf course today, so I think that's a good telltale sign that the Achilles is feeling better.
Don't be in pain another day. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Paid actor portrayal.
Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. In 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected.
Ethos fast and easy online term life insurance up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
New year, even a presidential election year, but we are still facing the same issues. You need to prepare for the worst. Protect your home, your family, and your investments. It's time to reach out to the Oxford Gold Group. They make it simple for you whether you are buying more gold, diversifying your 401k, or buying gold for the first time. Call the Oxford Gold Group at 833-995-GOLD and order the investment guide, or make a purchase of precious metals and get up to $2,500 in free gold. 833-995-GOLD.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Get answers to your remodeling questions from Milwaukee NARI Home Improvement Council members on this week's remodeling show. To find a trusted, qualified, dependable, and local remodeling specialist, turn to NARI. Call 414-771-4071 or visit MilwaukeeNARI.org.
If you want a fiduciary guiding your financial plan that will treat your assets as if they were their own, go to FinancialStrategiesInc.com.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
People want to know if the happy couple got fries with the delivery of their child. They couldn't have gotten an actual McFlurry, Dave says, because clearly at the McDonald's, the shake machine would be broken. So they got the next best thing, a little baby boy nicknamed McFlurry. Just a cute, cute story. Love that. That was How Bizarre, our weekly look back at the strangest stories of the past 7 days. We always enjoy doing that segment here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Milwaukee Public Schools is looking to de-center and dismantle whiteness in the classroom. Young America's Foundation publishing an exclusive report. There is a 33-page memo from the district entitled Educational Community and District Climate, explaining the best practices addressing discipline proportionality through a positive educational community. Significant approach is anti-racism and understanding whiteness. Whiteness is everywhere around us. Educational practices have been rooted in whiteness and coming from a lens of whiteness for years. Educators should reflect on which elements of whiteness they see in education, which they participate in, and which elements they can work to dismantle. The memo also lists videos to help faculty continue their journey along the development of understanding whiteness. Among them included a discussion by author Robin DiAngelo and a video titled Whiteness WTF. Another section of the memo devoted to achieving equity in the schools, which the memo defines as an allocation of district resources, supports, and opportunities based on the needs of students and staff. Achieving equity may require an unequal distribution of resources and services in order to ensure that all children have an equal opportunity to a free and appropriate public education. The strengths of students, staff, families, and community members shall be illuminated to eliminate implicit and explicit deficit thinking. So there in black and white is proof that equity really is about unequal distribution of pretty much everything. It's about the equality of outcome, not the equality of opportunity. The equality of opportunity would presuppose that you spread around your resources as evenly as possible. Sure, there's going to be some natural deviation. Some schools might have more challenges and you need to invest more in them or whatever it is. But the equality of opportunity ensures that all students have an equal opportunity. It doesn't guarantee equal outcomes. Equity is about trying to fix outcomes so that everyone's outcome is the exact same. Does that sound staggeringly anti-American? Well, it absolutely is. I'm sure we're going to talk about this much more next week, but right now we got to carve out about 4 minutes to preview the Packer game, right? Biggest game of the season by far. Of course, the Packers play their longtime playoff nemesis, the San Francisco 49ers. I'm old enough to remember when Jerry Rice absolutely did fumble that football. Jerry Rice was my favorite player growing up, and even I could see way back 25 years ago that he fumbled that ball. Nonetheless, quarter century later, the Packers are 9.5-point underdogs to San Francisco. And once again, nobody in the known universe is picking the Packers to actually win this game. I think that's foolish. Packers absolutely have a chance to win this game. Their offense is about the hottest in football. They were able to absolutely dominate a defense, which gets to the quarterback at about the same rate that San Francisco's does. San Francisco's offense is just as good as the Dallas Cowboys, although not quite as high scoring. The only difference is the player that I think is going to be the X factor in this game, especially on a wet field, especially when it's going to be very difficult to throw the ball. Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in football. He is a weapon out of the backfield, running the ball, catching it in the flat. He can go deep for routes. There's nothing the man can't do. And he and Brock Purdy seem to have this ESP connection where Purdy will be able to find McCaffrey wherever he is on the field. In addition to that, the 49ers' other weapons in Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle are very, very good, especially when Purdy is protected by one of the better offensive lines in football, and he's able to get time in the pocket, and especially Ayuk and Samuel are able to open up seams. They can really do damage after the catch. I think, based on the point spread being 50.5, this is going to be a higher scoring game. What did I say? The point spread? Not the point spread. The over-under. Yeah, the point spread. 49ers are favored by 50.5. Man. No, the over-under is 50.5. It's going to be a relatively high-scoring game. The Packers are going to need to keep up with essentially a track meet of a game in field conditions that might not necessarily lend themselves to that. My concern, as always, is Joe Barry's defense. Look, they played fantastic. They did give up 32 points, but the game was essentially out of hand by about the second half, really. Dallas never really got back into that football game. If you allow the 49ers to score 32 points, however, it's going to be real difficult, if not impossible, to win that game. Still, I have faith. Let's go, Packers. I'll be back Monday morning right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.